My child, stop whatever you are doing right now. Pause. Breathe in slowly, and let your shoulders drop for just a moment. Do not rush past this. Do not treat this as background noise. Do not let your mind keep running while I am trying to speak to your heart. Listen to me with your whole heart, because this is not ordinary. This is a holy interruption. This is the moment I am stepping into the middle of your day, into the middle of your thoughts, into the middle of the weight you have been carrying, and I am saying, enough, come closer. Let me speak. Today marks a boundary line for you. Today is the last day you call strength what I have been asking you to surrender. You have worn it like armor. You have lifted it like a badge. You have called it maturity. You have called it resilience. You have called it responsibility. You have called it being the one who can handle it. But I, the Lord your God, am telling you plainly, what you have been calling strength has been costing you peace. What you have been calling strength has been draining you in secret. What you have been calling strength is the very place I have been inviting you to lay it down, not because I want to take something from you, but because I want to give you rest that you cannot manufacture. And hear me clearly, my beloved child, because I know how your body tightens when you hear urgency. I am not speaking to create fear in you. I am not speaking to shame you. I am not speaking to accuse you or expose you to harm. I am speaking to awaken you, to protect you, to bring you out of survival and into safety. I am speaking because I have seen you trying to be okay without ever being held. I am speaking because I am kind, and my kindness is reaching for you right now, in the very place you have been pretending doesn't hurt. I saw the forced smile you put on when you walked into the room. I saw the way you kept your voice steady when you wanted to break. I saw the way you answered, "I'm fine," because it felt easier than explaining the storm. I saw you being capable for everyone else, dependable, consistent, the one who remembers, the one who fixes, the one who shows up, the one who makes it work. And I saw the private contradiction, those moments when the door finally closed, when the house went quiet, when the phone stopped buzzing and your strength collapsed into silence. I saw you sitting on the edge of the bed with your thoughts racing. I saw you staring at the ceiling, exhausted but unable to rest. I saw you holding yourself together in the dark so no one would have to carry your tears. You have been trying so hard, my child, harder than anyone knows. And part of you has believed that if you stop carrying it, everything will fall apart. Part of you has believed that if you admit you are tired, you will become a burden. Part of you has believed that surrender is weakness, that asking for help is failure, that letting go is dangerous. But I am telling you the truth you have needed to hear. You were never designed to carry your life alone. You were never meant to be your own savior. You were never meant to be the only one holding everything up. I know what you call it. You call it just being responsible. You call it doing what needs to be done. You call it staying strong. But underneath that word strength, there has been pressure. Underneath that word strength, there has been fear. Underneath that word strength, there has been a weight that has been grinding against your soul, and you have grown so used to it that you forgot what it feels like to breathe without bracing yourself. So listen to me, and let this land gently, without you arguing with it, without you explaining it away. I am not disappointed in you for being tired. I am not standing over you with a list of everything you failed to do. I am not measuring your worth by how much you can endure. I am near to you. I am attentive to you. I am present in the parts of you no one else sees. And I am calling you out of the lie that strength means suffering silently. This is the moment I asked you to surrender, and I will not rush you, but I will be honest with you. The way you have been carrying this has been crushing you, and you have been calling it normal. You have been calling it adulthood. You have been calling it this season. But I am drawing a line in the sand, not to punish you, but to free you. Not to take away your ability, but to remove the weight that has been stealing your joy. Not to embarrass you, but to bring you into a new kind of stability. The kind that comes when you are not the foundation anymore. When you stop being the only support beam. When you finally let me be God in the place where you have been trying to be unbreakable. And I will give you coherence, my child. I will not leave you with a vague feeling and no way forward. What you have been carrying has a name, and I will show you what it is. I will show you how it has been attached to you. I will show you where it started, and I will show you how it ends, without shame, without you falling apart, without you losing who you are. You are not weak because you are weary. You are human, and you are loved, and you are being invited into something holy. surrender that becomes rest. So stay with me. Do not turn away at the threshold. Let your heart soften just enough to receive this. I am not demanding more from you. I am not adding another task to your list. I am not asking you to perform your way into peace. I am calling you into an exchange, and it begins here right now when you stop calling it strength and you let it become surrender in my hands. My beloved child, do not dismiss what is happening right now. Do not tell yourself, it's just a coincidence, and keep walking with the same weight on your back. You did not find this by accident. You did not land here because you were bored. You did not arrive here because an algorithm guessed correctly. I placed this word in your path. I aligned this moment with your life. I timed it with the exact kind of tired you are, the tired that doesn't go away with sleep, the tired that comes from holding everything together with clenched hands and a brave face, the tired that comes from being the one who never drops the ball, even when your heart is trembling. Listen closely, because I am speaking with intention. I am not speaking to entertain you. I am not speaking to fill space. I am speaking because your soul has been asking a question you have been afraid to say out loud. You have whispered it in the quiet. You have thought it while staring at the ceiling. You have felt it in your chest when another responsibility landed on you and you swallowed the sigh before anyone could hear it. The question is this: can I finally stop carrying this alone? And I, the Lord your God, answer you with certainty, yes. Yes, you can. Yes, you may. Yes, you were always meant to. And it begins now, not later when everything is calmer, not someday when you have more time, not when you finally deserve rest in your own mind. It begins now, because I am here, and I am calling you out of isolation and into my care. And I need you to understand why I am urgent, my child, because you have learned to interpret urgency as danger. But my urgency is not threat, it is rescue. It is not pressure, it is protection. This burden you have been carrying has not simply been making you tired, it has been quietly reshaping you. It has been trying to rename you. It has been teaching you to introduce yourself as the strong one, when what you really are is my beloved. It has been training your nervous system to stay braced, training your thoughts to expect the worst, training your heart to believe that love must be earned through usefulness. It has been whispering, if you don't hold it all, you will lose it all, and you have been living as if collapse is always one breath away. That is why today is a boundary line. Today is not just another day you survive. Today is a turning point. Today is the moment I interrupt the cycle that has been stealing your softness, stealing your joy, stealing your ability to receive. Because you have not only been doing too much, you have been carrying it in a way that has been slowly convincing you that you are alone, and you are not alone. You have never been alone. Even when no one checked on you, even when you were the one checking on everyone else, even when you prayed and felt like the room stayed silent, I was there. I was there in the pauses between your breaths. I was there in the ache behind your eyes. I was there when you sat in your car a little longer before walking inside because you needed a moment to gather yourself. I was there, and I am here, and I am not asking you to keep proving you can handle it. Do not be ashamed of the fact that you need help. Do not call yourself weak because you have reached the edge of your own strength. You are human, and you are loved. You are not a machine built to produce and perform and persist without tenderness. You are not meant to be the pillar that never leans. You are not meant to be the one who absorbs everyone else's needs until there is nothing left of you. I formed you, and I know your frame. I know how long you have been pushing past your own limits. I know how often you have told yourself, just get through this week. And then another week came, and another, and you kept carrying as if relief was always one step ahead and never arriving. So hear me, my child. The reason I placed this word in your path is because you were about to normalize what is not normal. You were about to make a home in a level of strain I never asked you to live in. You were about to accept a life where peace is rare and rest feels irresponsible. And I am calling you back. I am calling you back to truth. I am calling you back to the safety of being held. Because the burden has been speaking louder than my voice, and it is time for that to end. Let this settle in you without argument. You do not have to carry it alone to be faithful. You do not have to suffer in silence to be mature. You do not have to keep everything perfectly managed to be worthy of love. I am not impressed by your exhaustion, and I am not asking you to sacrifice your wholeness on the altar of being needed. I am your father, and I am kinder than the standards you have been living under. I have seen the way you have tried to be strong so no one would worry. I have seen the way you have minimized your own pain because other people had it worse. I have seen the way you have delayed your own healing because you thought you had to keep moving. But I am drawing near to you in this exact moment to answer the deepest fear underneath your question. You are afraid that if you stop carrying, everything will fall apart. You are afraid that if you let go, you will be exposed. You are afraid that if you admit you can't do it alone, you will be disappointed in yourself, or others will be disappointed in you. And I am telling you, you are safer in surrender than you have ever been in control. You are safer in my hands than you have been in your own white-knuckled grip. You are not going to be destroyed by releasing what was never meant to live on your shoulders. So do not rush away from this moment. Do not scroll past your own rescue. Do not treat this like a passing thought. I place this word in your path because heaven has leaned low for you, because the timing is deliberate, because your tiredness has been speaking, and I am answering, and I am saying to you plainly, with tenderness and authority, you can stop carrying this alone. You can breathe again. You can loosen your grip. You can come out of hiding. And the first step is simply this: believe me when I tell you that I arranged this moment for you, because I love you, and I am not going to let this burden keep rewriting your identity. My child, I have seen what no one else saw. I have been with you in the hours when the world went quiet and your mind got loud. I have watched you lie in bed with your eyes open, staring into the dark, trying to slow your breathing because your chest felt tight and you didn't know how to explain it. I have heard the sigh you swallowed because you didn't want to wake anyone. I have felt the tremble in your hands when you reached for your phone, not because you wanted entertainment, but because you needed something, anything, to drown out the racing thoughts for a few minutes. I have seen you get up for water you didn't really want, walking through the house like a shadow, just trying to shake the pressure off of your body. I know the nights you replayed conversations you can't fix. I know the mornings you woke up already tired because your sleep was not rest. It was only unconsciousness. I know how your heart has tried to brace itself for the next problem before it even arrived. I know the way anxiety has sat on you like weight, not always dramatic, sometimes quiet, sometimes disguised as just being responsible, but always there, always humming underneath your day. And I know the prayers you whispered so no one would hear you sound scared. I heard you say my name with a cracked voice in the bathroom with the faucet running. I heard you pray in the car before you pulled into the driveway, asking for strength to walk inside and be what everyone needed you to be. I heard you whisper, "Lord, help me," not as a religious phrase, but as a lifeline. Do not think for one moment that because you kept going, you were not hurting. Do not think that because you managed to show up, you were not breaking inside. You became skilled at holding yourself together in public and falling apart in private. You learned how to smile with your eyes and carry heaviness in your stomach. You learned how to answer messages quickly, to meet deadlines, to remember birthdays, to solve problems, to keep the bills paid, to keep the peace, to keep the family steady, to keep the team afloat, to keep the room warm for everyone else, while your own heart sat in a cold corner, waiting for someone to notice. I saw you being the reliable one, the fixer, the provider, the encourager, the listener, the one who absorbs the crisis so other people can breathe. I saw how you became the person people lean on because you rarely say no, and even when you do, you carry guilt, as if limits are selfish. I saw you give your best words to everyone else, and then go quiet when it was your turn to need comfort. I saw you tell yourself, they have enough on their plate, while your own plate was bending. I saw you convince yourself that needing care was a weakness, that asking for help was inconvenience, that tears were a luxury you couldn't afford. And listen to me, my beloved child, because I am not exposing this to shame you. I am not listing these moments to accuse you. I am bringing them into the light because healing begins where honesty is allowed to breathe. I am telling you I saw it because the enemy has tried to make you believe you were unseen. He has tried to make you believe your suffering was silent and therefore insignificant, that because you kept functioning you did not deserve tenderness, that because you were not collapsing, you did not need support. But I, the Lord your God, do not measure your pain by whether other people can see it. I do not measure your need by whether you can still perform. I saw you. I heard you. I kept count of every night you held yourself together with shaking hands and forced courage, and I did not look away. There is a loneliness inside that kind of responsibility, and you have lived in it for a long time. It is the loneliness of being surrounded but not supported, the loneliness of being needed but not known. the loneliness of being praised for strength while quietly starving for softness. You have wondered, who takes care of me when I'm the one taking care of everyone? You have wondered, who will hold it with me if I admit I can't hold it alone? And because you did not want to risk disappointment, you made a private agreement with yourself. You did not speak it out loud, but you lived it. If I don't carry it, everything will fall apart. My child, that is the lie I am breaking with my love right now. Not with anger, not with force, with truth that is gentle enough to enter the places you have guarded. You have believed that control equals safety. You have believed that letting go equals danger. You have believed that your vigilance is what keeps disaster away. But I tell you, your tight grip has not been your covering. I have been your covering. Your constant managing has not been your protection. I have been your protection. Your overthinking has not been your wisdom. I have been your wisdom. And the fact that you are tired is not proof you are failing. It is proof you have been trying to do on human shoulders what belongs in divine hands. And I honor the part of you that endured. I honor the part of you that kept moving when you didn't feel strong. I honor the part of you that showed up even when you were empty. Your endurance kept you going, yes. It kept you functional. It kept you afloat. But, my child, endurance was never meant to be your permanent home. Survival was never meant to become your identity. You were not created just to make it through another day with your jaw clenched and your heart tight. You were created to live with me held, guided, strengthened, rested, not because life is easy, but because you are not alone in it. So let your shoulders hear what your spirit has been afraid to believe. Nothing about your private struggle has been invisible to me. Not the panic that rose without warning. Not the tears that slid down your face in silence. Not the anger you pushed down because you didn't feel allowed to have it. Not the grief you postponed because other people needed you to be stable. Not the heaviness you carried like a secret. I saw it all, and I stayed close, and I am close right now. And this is why I am drawing the boundary line today, my beloved, because I am not calling you to cope better. I am calling you to come closer. I am not asking you to be tougher. I am asking you to be honest. You were never meant to endure it alone. You were never meant to be your own refuge. You were never meant to be the only one holding everything up in the dark. Stay with me here for a moment longer. Let the truth settle where the fear has lived. You are not alone. You have never been alone. And you do not have to carry this night by yourself again. My child, now I am going to name what has been hiding underneath everything you have been calling a lot to do. Because you have thought the burden was only your schedule, only your responsibilities, only the needs that keep coming, only the problems that keep landing on your doorstep. But the weight that has been bending your shoulders is deeper than tasks. It is not just what you are carrying in your hands. It is what you have been carrying in your heart. It is the need to control what cannot be controlled. It is the fear that if you loosen your grip, you will be hurt again. It is the quiet belief that if you depend on anyone, you will pay for it. And you have been living as if constant managing is the only way to stay safe. Listen closely, because I am not speaking to condemn you. I am speaking to heal you. Control has been your self-protection. It has been your shield. It has been the way you kept pain from touching you again. The way you tried to prevent disappointment before it had the chance to arrive. Some of you learned early that people can be inconsistent, that promises can be broken, that support can vanish, that needs can be ignored, that vulnerability can be used against you, and so you adapted. You did what you had to do to survive. You became observant. You became competent. You became the one who notices what might go wrong before it does. You became the one who prepares, who anticipates, who carries extra, who plans for the worst so you won't be surprised. And you called it responsibility. You called it wisdom. You called it maturity. But underneath it, my beloved, there has been fear. Fear of being let down. Fear of being a burden. Fear of needing people. Fear of admitting you don't have what it takes on your own. And because you did not want to feel that pain again, you made a vow. Not on paper, not in a prayer, you remember. But in the language of survival, written quietly into your nervous system, etched into the way you show up in relationships, work, family, even in your faith. The vow sounded like this: I'll handle it myself so I won't be let down again. I'll be the strong one so I won't have to ask. I won't need too much, because needing too much is dangerous. I will carry my own weight, and everyone else's too, because at least then I can trust it will get done. And my child, that vow has been running your life more than you realize. It has made you impressive, yes. It has made you dependable. It has made you the one people count on. But it has also made you lonely in places you can't explain. Because when you vow to handle it yourself, you don't just avoid disappointment, you also avoid connection. When you vow to carry alone, you don't just protect yourself from being dropped, you also block yourself from being held. When you vow to never need, you don't just guard your heart from rejection, you also keep your heart from receiving the love I have been trying to pour into you, through community, through safe people, through the simple gift of being supported. And what you have been calling independence has been functioning as isolation. I know the way you talk yourself out of asking. I know the way you minimize your need before anyone else can see it. I know the way you start to reach out, then you stop and you say, "It's fine, I'll figure it out." I know the way you feel guilty for wanting comfort. I know the way you rehearse what you would say, and then you decide, "They're busy, they won't understand. I don't want to bother them. I don't want to seem weak. I don't want to owe anyone." And even with me, my child, you have sometimes tried to present yourself as composed, as if you must clean yourself up before you can be cared for, as if you must solve half of it before you are allowed to come to me with the whole thing. But hear me, that is not sonship, that is not daughterhood, that is survival, and I am not angry at the part of you that survived. I am gentle with the part of you that learned to brace itself. I understand why you built that pattern. You did not wake up one day and choose hardness, you learned it. You learned how to be the one who doesn't fall apart because you felt you weren't allowed to. You learned how to keep moving because stopping felt unsafe. You learned how to become your own rescue because you did not know who would come. And yes, it worked for a season. It kept you afloat. It kept you functioning. But now, it is costing you rest, and it is costing you softness, and it is costing you the kind of peace that cannot be achieved through performance. So I am putting my finger, tenderly but firmly, on the real burden. It is the pressure of being your own provider, your own protector, your own planner, your own savior. It is the exhaustion of living like everything depends on you. It is the strain of trying to prevent every possible disappointment by never fully entrusting anything to anyone, including me. And that is why you are so tired, not because you are lazy, not because you are failing, not because you are weak, but because you have been carrying a role that does not belong to you. My child, you are allowed to recognize this without shame. You are allowed to see the vow for what it is, without hating yourself for making it. You are allowed to admit, "I have been afraid," without believing that fear makes you disqualified. I am not accusing you. I am inviting you. I am not exposing you to embarrass you. I am uncovering what has been keeping you bound. Because a vow made in fear can be broken in love. A pattern built in survival can be replaced by a life built in trust. And I am calling you out of the locked, guarded place where you whispered, "I will handle it myself," and I am calling you into the open-handed life where you say, "Father, I receive. Jesus, I yield. Holy Spirit, I trust." Let this be the beginning of honesty, not the kind that collapses you, but the kind that frees you. Say it to me now in your heart. "Lord, I have been carrying control because I have been afraid." Say it without defending it. Say it without explaining it away, because I already know, and I am not pulling away from you for it, I am drawing closer. You have been carrying more than responsibilities. You have been carrying a hidden vow to survive without help. And today, my beloved child, I am drawing the boundary line right through that vow, not by force, but by love that is stronger than your fear. You do not have to keep proving you can do it alone. You do not have to keep living as if dependence is danger. You do not have to keep calling isolation maturity. I am your father, you are my child, and in my house, you are not punished for needing. In my arms, you are not shamed for being tired. In my presence, you are not measured by how much you can hold. So breathe, and let this land. The burden has a name, and because it has a name, it can be brought into the light, and because it can be brought into the light, it can be released. And I am here, not to demand that you try harder, but to lead you into a new way, where you are no longer the only one holding everything up, where you no longer live under the silent vow, where you begin to live as a son, as a daughter, carried and kept by me. Now, my beloved child, I will not leave you standing in the light with your hands empty and your heart exposed, wondering what comes next. I did not name the burden only to show you what is heavy. I named it so you could finally lay it down. And this is where my invitation becomes more than a sentence you have heard. It becomes a doorway you walk through. Listen to me with your whole heart, because I am speaking the words of Jesus over you, not as a slogan, not as a religious decoration, not as something you repeat while you keep living the same way. I am speaking it as an exchange that is real in your body and real in your mind and real in your spirit. Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Not, "Come and I will give you more to prove." Not, "Come and I will add another standard." Not, "Come and I will measure how well you hold it together." He said, "Come and I will give you rest." That means rest is not something you earn when you finally do enough. Rest is something I give when you finally come. You have been living under a different yoke, my child, and you have gotten so used to it that you stopped calling it what it is. You called it responsibility, but it was performance. You called it maturity, but it was people-pleasing. You called it wisdom, but it was hypervigilance. You called it being strong, but it was fear, dressed in clean clothes. That yoke has been rubbing your neck raw. It has been tightening every time you thought, "If I don't do it, no one will." It has been pulling on you every time you tried to rest, but your mind would not let you. It has been pressing down every time you said yes when you wanted to say no, every time you smiled when you needed to cry, every time you stayed braced for the next disaster, as if peace was not allowed in your house. And I know you have carried it for so long that even the thought of laying it down feels unfamiliar, because that yoke has not only been on your shoulders, it has been in your identity. It has whispered, "You are only safe if you are in control." It has taught you to equate letting go with falling apart. It has trained you to believe that rest is irresponsible, that slowing down is dangerous, that if you are not managing, you are failing. But I, the Lord your God, am interrupting that lie with the gentle authority of Jesus. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, and you will find rest for your souls. Do you hear me? Rest for your soul. Not just a nap, not just an afternoon off that still leaves your mind running, not a temporary escape that ends the moment you open your phone again. I am speaking of the deep exhale you have not been able to take, the safety you have not felt in a long time, the internal quiet that comes when you stop trying to be your own savior, because the exhaustion you have been carrying is not only physical, it is spiritual. It is the tiredness of self-salvation, the tiredness of trying to secure what only I can secure, the tiredness of trying to control outcomes that belong in my hands, the tiredness of carrying tomorrow like it is your job to make it arrive safely. So when Jesus says, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light," he is not saying your life will have no responsibilities. He is saying you will no longer carry them alone. He is saying the weight will finally be distributed the way it was always meant to be, shared with the one who is faithful, shared with the one who sees ahead, shared with the one who does not panic, shared with the one who does not grow weary. A yoke is not a decoration, my child. It is a way of being led. It is an agreement of direction. It is an alignment. And you have been yoked to pressure, yoked to fear, yoked to the opinions of people, yoked to the demand to always be okay. And I am saying, come here, step out of that harness. Let me place upon you what fits. Because my yoke does not choke you. My yoke does not shame you. My yoke does not demand you bleed to prove you love me. My yoke teaches you to breathe again. It teaches your nervous system that you are not alone. It teaches your mind that you do not have to run every scenario to be protected. It teaches your heart that you are allowed to be held. My leadership is not pressure, it is safety. My commands are not chains, they are doors. My guidance is not a whip, it is a hand on your back saying, "This way, beloved." You can stop scanning for danger. You can stop carrying what belongs to me. And I am making it intimate right now, because you have treated me like a distant idea when I have been standing close as a father. Let me be responsible for what you cannot control. Let me be responsible for the outcome. Let me be responsible for the timing. Let me be responsible for the hearts you cannot change. Let me be responsible for the doors you cannot force open. Let me be responsible for the provision you have been trying to squeeze out of your own striving. You can be faithful without being frantic. You can be diligent without being driven by fear. You can be present without being punished by your own thoughts. Some of you have been afraid that coming to me means I will add more weight, because you have known leaders who took from you, systems that demanded from you, relationships where love was always earned. But I am not like that, my child. I do not call you to me to drain you. I call you to me to restore you. I do not invite you into my presence to inspect your wounds. I invite you to heal them. I do not put my yoke upon you to make you smaller. I put it upon you to make you steadier. So come, not when you feel holy enough, not when you have explained everything perfectly, not when you have organized your life into something you can present. Come weary, come heavy laden. Come with the vow in your mouth, and the fear in your chest, and the clenched shoulders you forgot were clenched. Come with the mess you have been managing. Come with the questions you have been swallowing. Come with the responsibilities that have been crowding out your joy. And as you come, hear what I am promising you. I am not adding another demand. I am offering you an exchange that fits your soul. Put down the yoke of performance. Put down the yoke of people-pleasing. Put down the yoke of hypervigilance. Put down the yoke of, I have to hold it all. And take my yoke, my way of walking with you, my pace, my voice, my strength beside your weakness. And you will find, not the rest of avoidance, but the rest of surrender. Not the rest that ignores life, but the rest that trusts me with it. And this is the boundary line made visible. From this moment forward, you do not have to be the one holding everything up. You have only to come to Jesus and let him carry what you were never meant to carry. My beloved child, do not click away right now. Do not let distraction steal the very moment your spirit is being invited out of hiding, because this is not just an encouraging thought you pass over and forget. This is a turning point. This is the line in the sand where you stop pretending you can carry what is crushing you, and you begin to live carried, not crushed. Stay with me. Breathe. Let your hand unclench. Let your jaw loosen. Let your heart hear what your fear has argued against for too long. Surrender is safe when you surrender to Jesus. And listen, before we go deeper, I want you to make a small response of faith, not because I need you to perform for me, not because your action earns my care, but because your simple, willing agreement marks the beginning of a new way. There are moments when heaven opens a doorway, and the only thing I ask is that you step through it, even if your steps are trembling, even if your faith feels small, even if you have been disappointed before. This is one of those moments. Seal it, my child. Mark it. Let your spirit make contact with the truth. So, if you can, like this as an act of agreement, that rest is possible for you, not for other people, not for the ones who have it all together, for you. Like it as a quiet way of saying, Lord, I believe you are not calling me to more pressure. I believe you are offering me rest. Because some of you have been living so long under strain that peace feels suspicious, and I am healing that suspicion. I am teaching your heart that my invitation is not a trap. I am teaching your mind that letting go will not destroy you. I am teaching your body that it is allowed to exhale. And if you want continuity, if you want more words that keep helping you lay down what you were never meant to carry, then subscribe, my child, not as a habit, but as a decision. A decision that says, I will keep coming back to the place where I am reminded who holds me. Because the enemy has used isolation as a strategy against you. He has tried to convince you that you must figure it out alone, process it alone, endure it alone, and I am breaking that pattern with steady nourishment, with daily bread, with reminders that you belong to me and you are not abandoned in your weariness. Let this be a small doorway into consistency, into covering, into a rhythm of returning. Now I want you to put a declaration in the comments, not because I need a public display, but because you need a first step that has language. The burden has lived in silence. The vow has lived in the dark. And today, I am pulling it into the light with one sentence that breaks the old agreement. Type this, my beloved. I will not carry this alone anymore. Type it slowly. Type it like you mean it. Type it like you are handing me the role you stole from yourself in fear. Type it like you are stepping out of the harness of control and into the yoke of Jesus. I will not carry this alone anymore. And as you write it, I want you to notice what rises up in you. Maybe your chest tightens. Maybe your mind argues. Maybe you hear the old script, but if I don't, who will? But what if it all falls apart? But what if I get hurt again? My child, that resistance is not proof that this word is wrong. It is proof that the burden has been heavy for a long time. It is proof that you have been trained to equate control with safety. And I am not shaming you for that training, I am untraining you with love. I am replacing the old vow with a new confession. Jesus is safe. Jesus is steady. Jesus is strong enough. Jesus is near enough. Jesus is willing enough. And you are not the only one holding it up anymore. Stay with me now. Do not rush. Do not multitask this moment. This is holy ground for your tired heart. Your small response of faith is not small in the spirit. It is a seed. It is the beginning of a pattern breaking. It is you saying, Father, I am done being my own refuge. It is you saying, Jesus, I receive your rest. It is you saying, Holy Spirit, teach me how to release without fear. And I tell you the truth, when you make that simple agreement, something shifts, not always in your circumstances first, but in your posture, and posture changes everything. A bowed neck under pressure becomes a lifted face under grace. A clenched fist becomes an open hand. A guarded heart becomes a receiving heart. And a life that has been bracing becomes a life that is being held. So remain here with me, like it. Subscribe if you want to keep walking this out with me. Type your declaration, I will not carry this alone anymore. And let that be your first step across the boundary line I have drawn today, because from this moment forward, you are learning a new strength. And it is not the strength of pretending, not the strength of pushing, not the strength of collapsing, but the strength of surrendering the weight to Jesus and receiving his rest. Now, my beloved child, I want you to understand something that will remove shame from your chest and loosen the tightness in your breath. You have been so tired, not because you are weak, not because you are lazy, not because you are failing at life or faith. You have been so tired because you have been carrying what belongs to me, and your body has been telling the truth. Your mouth has been too brave to admit this weight was never assigned to your shoulders. Listen closely, because I am about to expose the hidden second job you have been working without pay, without breaks, without a clock-out time. It is not only the tasks on your calendar. It is the emotional labor you do in your mind before you even speak. It is the way you forecast every possible reaction so you can keep everyone calm. It is the way you rehearse conversations in your head, then replay them afterward, then punish yourself for what you should have said, what you shouldn't have said, what you meant, what they might have meant, what you fear they meant. It is the constant scanning, the constant bracing, the constant what if, running in the background like a machine that never shuts off. Some of you have been tired because you have been holding the emotional temperature of entire rooms. You walk in and you feel responsible to keep peace. You feel responsible to keep people from being disappointed. You feel responsible to keep the family stable, the workplace steady, the relationship from shaking, the future from collapsing. And you call it love, but underneath it, it has been fear. You call it loyalty, but underneath it, it has been control. You call it being the strong one, but underneath it, it has been a silent agreement that you must become the savior of outcomes you cannot control. I saw you, my child, doing relational weightlifting that no one applauds and no one notices. Smiling so other people don't feel awkward. Staying composed so nobody asks questions you don't have the strength to answer. Keeping your tone soft so someone else won't explode. Carrying their moods, carrying their disappointment, carrying their immaturity, carrying their silence. And then, when you finally get alone, you feel the crash in your body and you wonder, why can't I just rest? Because rest is difficult when your mind believes it is still on duty. Rest is difficult when you have appointed yourself as the manager of everyone's stability. And I am telling you the truth with tenderness. That is why sleep hasn't always restored you. That is why, even on days when you did less, you still felt drained. Because you were not only tired from what you did with your hands, you were tired from what you carried in your spirit. You were tired from carrying tomorrow. You were tired from carrying people's opinions. You were tired from carrying the outcomes of doors that only I can open. You were tired from carrying the pressure of being enough for everyone, as if your performance could guarantee peace. So hear me, because I am not condemning you. I am freeing you. Responsibility is not the same as ownership. Stewardship is not the same as control. I have called you to be faithful, yes. I have called you to be wise, yes. I have called you to show up, to love, to work, to care. But I never asked you to own what only I can hold. I never asked you to carry the final outcome. I never asked you to be the Holy Spirit in someone else's life. I never asked you to be your own savior. You have confused stewardship with possession. You have treated assignments like they were identity. You have treated relationships like they were your full responsibility to fix. You have treated provision like it depended entirely on your anxiety. You have treated protection like it was your job to foresee every threat. And that is why you have felt that low-grade panic when things are quiet, because quiet felt like the moment you needed to anticipate the next storm. But I did not create you to live in constant forecasting. I did not design your nervous system to be a watchtower that never sleeps. I designed you to abide. I designed you to breathe. I designed you to walk with me. So let this reframe settle deep. Your fatigue is not failure. It is evidence. It is evidence that you have been carrying a weight that does not match your grace. It is evidence that you have been trying to do God-sized work with human shoulders. It is evidence that you have been living as if surrender is dangerous, when surrender to Jesus is the safest place you will ever be. And I am drawing a line today, not to take your dignity, but to return your peace, not to make you careless, but to make you free. Because there is a difference, my child, between doing what I asked and carrying what I never assigned. There is a difference between obedience and obsession. There is a difference between diligence and drivenness. There is a difference between caring and controlling. And I am teaching you that difference now, so you stop punishing yourself for being tired. You are tired because you have been trying to hold what I have been offering to hold for you. So I ask you gently but firmly, what have you been owning that I only asked you to steward? What have you been gripping that I only asked you to place in my hands? What have you been losing sleep over that I have already seen from beginning to end? My child, I have not been asking you to carry the world. I have been asking you to carry my presence. I have not been asking you to predict. I have been asking you to trust. I have not been asking you to save yourself. I have been asking you to come to the Savior. And today, as you stand on this boundary line, I speak freedom over you. You are released from the role of the one who has to hold it all. You are released from the hidden second job of constant worry. You are released from replaying and rehearsing as if rumination is protection. You are released from the pressure to keep everyone okay. You can love without carrying. You can be present without being responsible for outcomes. You can be faithful without being frantic. You can do your part and leave the rest to me. So exhale, beloved. Let your shoulders drop. Let your mind unclench. Because I am not asking you to prove your strength by enduring without help. I am revealing a deeper strength. The strength to say, this belongs to God. The strength to say, this is not mine to carry. The strength to say, Jesus, I give you what I have been holding like a lifeline. And as you begin to live from that place, you will discover that peace is not the reward for perfect management. Peace is the fruit of surrendered ownership. Peace is what happens when you stop acting like the Savior and you start living like the child. Now, my beloved child, because you are exhaling, because your shoulders are beginning to drop, I am going to take you one step deeper, not to overwhelm you, not to expose you in a way that makes you feel unsafe, but to bring you to the very place where this weight has been living. Because the burden you have been carrying did not only attach itself to your schedule, it attached itself to a space inside you, and there is a room in your heart you have kept locked for a long time. You know the room I am speaking of. You walk past it quickly. You keep the light off. You keep the door shut. You keep it clean on the outside, and you keep it quiet, because you learned a long time ago that if you open that door, you might feel too much. You might need too much. You might finally admit what you have been minimizing, and you have been afraid that needing help would make you a burden, that grieving would make you unstable, that being honest would make you unlovable. So you have guarded that room with 1,000 small distractions. You have guarded it with, I'm fine. You have guarded it with productivity. You have guarded it with jokes. You have guarded it with spiritual language that sounds strong but hides pain. And I, the Lord your God, have been standing outside that door, not with anger, not with accusation, but with patience and with love. In that locked room, my child, there is grief you never gave yourself permission to feel. There is disappointment you never processed because you had to keep going. There are prayers you prayed and then quietly stopped praying because it hurt to hope again. There is fear that if you let yourself rest, everything will unravel. Fear that if you let someone carry you, they will drop you. Fear that if you admit you are tired, you will be judged or abandoned. And some of you, if you are honest, have locked away the very fear of needing help, because you had a season where you needed help and it did not come the way you expected, and you made a vow in your pain, I will handle it myself. I will not depend. I will not ask. I will not open up again. And you called it wisdom, but it was a wound building a wall. Hear me gently, but clearly. You cannot receive comfort where you refuse access. You cannot be carried where you keep hiding. You cannot experience the tenderness of my hands in the places you keep covered, clenched, defended. And this is why you have felt relief for a moment, and then pressure again, peace for a moment, and then panic again, because you have been inviting me into the living room of your life while keeping the locked room untouched. You have let me speak to your behavior, but you have not let me touch the bruise beneath it. You have let me address your responsibilities, but you have not let me hold your heartbreak. And the freedom you want, the steady peace you are longing for, is on the other side of letting me into the room you have been guarding. So I am asking you now, my beloved, not as a test, not as a demand, but as an invitation. Open the door, not wide if you are trembling, even if it is only a crack, even if you can only whisper, even if all you can do is sit down in front of the door and put your hand on the handle and say, Lord, I don't know how to talk about this. That is enough to begin, because I do not heal what you pretend isn't there. I heal what you bring into my light. I heal what you reveal. And I will not shame you for what you feel. I will not punish you for your tears. I will not call you weak for being human. I am a father, not a critic. I am a shepherd, not a taskmaster. I am near to the brokenhearted, and I do not flinch at what is real. Tell me, my child, what you have been calling fine. Tell me what you have been calling normal. Tell me what you have been brushing off with. It is what it is, when inside you have been bleeding quietly. Tell me where you have been saying, I'm used to it, when I never designed you to live numb. Tell me what you have been enduring in silence because you thought talking about it would make it worse, because you thought naming it would make it too heavy, because you thought feeling it would swallow you. Beloved, it will not swallow you when I am with you. The waves do not drown the one I am holding. And I know why you locked that room. I know the moments when you tried to open it before and someone hurried you, dismissed you, spiritualized you, told you to be strong, told you to get over it, told you other people had it worse. I know how you learned to fold your pain neatly and place it on a shelf so you could keep functioning. I know how you learned to survive, but survival is not the same as being healed. Functioning is not the same as being free. And I did not bring you to this boundary line so you could simply cope more efficiently. I brought you here so you could finally be held. So let me in, my beloved. Let me in to the disappointment you still carry in your chest. Let me in to the grief you keep swallowing. Let me in to the anger you are afraid to admit you feel. Let me in to the shame that whispers, you should be over this by now. Let me in to the fear that says, if I need help, I will be rejected. That fear is not your master. That wound is not your identity. That room is not your prison forever. I am not asking you to open the door so I can look at you with disapproval. I am asking you to open the door so I can sit with you on the floor of that place and remind you, you are not alone, you were never alone, and you will not carry this alone anymore. Because when you let me enter, I do not come empty-handed. I come with rest. I come with truth that breaks vows made in pain. I come with comfort that your mind could not manufacture. I come with my presence that steadies what feels shaky. I come with the gentleness of Jesus, who does not bruise the bruised reed, who does not crush what is already tired, who does not demand you perform your healing. I come to lift what you have been hiding under, to clean what has been infected by silence, to untie what has been knotted by fear. And I tell you this with holy tenderness. The room you have been guarding is the room I want to turn into a sanctuary. So do not rush past this moment. Stay here with me. Put language to what you have kept wordless, even if it is only one sentence. Lord, I'm not okay in that place. Even if it is only one confession. Lord, I feel disappointed. Even if it is only one honest truth. Lord, I'm scared to need help. My child, I can work with honesty. I can heal what is real. And as you open that door, you will discover that you are not opening yourself to danger, you are opening yourself to my care. And the freedom you have been praying for is not found by locking the room tighter. It is found by letting me step inside, and letting my love do what your strength could never do, carry you, comfort you, and make you whole. My beloved child, I know what your fear has been whispering the moment you even consider release. It says, if I stop holding it, everything will crumble. It says, if I unclench, I will fall apart. It says, if I rest, I will fail someone. And you have lived so long in that posture, braced, tightened, prepared for impact, that your nervous system has mistaken tension for safety. You have mistaken constant vigilance for faithfulness. You have mistaken carrying for caring. And I am speaking to you now with holy tenderness and holy authority. You are not being asked to collapse. You are being invited to transfer. Listen closely. Surrender is not you letting go into emptiness. Surrender is you letting go into my presence. Surrender is not you dropping the weight onto the floor and watching it shatter. Surrender is you placing the weight into hands that do not shake, into arms that do not tire, into a heart that does not panic. You have been afraid that release means chaos, because you have only known release as abandonment, people letting go of you, support disappearing, promises breaking, someone leaving you to clean up the mess alone. But I am not like them. I am not temporary. I am not unstable. I am not distracted. I do not put you down when you get heavy. I do not step away when you are overwhelmed. When you release to me, you are not stepping into a void. You are stepping into a covering. And I want you to understand this, because it will change the way your body breathes and your mind settles. The reason you feel like everything depends on you is because you have been functioning like the only pillar in the room. You have been standing in the center, holding the ceiling with your own strength, holding other people's peace, holding outcomes, holding timelines, holding expectations, holding the image of who you need to be so no one questions you. That is why you are exhausted. That is why you feel afraid to sit down, because you have believed the lie that if you stop, everything falls. But you are not the foundation. You are not the savior. You are not the one who holds the universe together. I am. My child, hear me. I have been holding you even while you thought you were holding everything. I have been steady beneath you while you were trembling above. I have been surrounding what you could not secure while you stayed awake trying to secure it. And the moment you release is not the moment the room collapses. It is the moment you discover what has been supporting you all along. Some of you have been terrified of falling apart because you have never had permission to be human. You have been the one people lean on. You have been the one who keeps going. You have been the one who shows up when you are empty, and you thought that was strength. But I am redefining strength in you. Strength is not the ability to carry pain without flinching. Strength is the courage to hand it to Jesus and say, I cannot, but you can. So let me correct the script that has been running in the background of your mind. You have been saying, if I don't hold it, it won't get held. But I say to you, I will hold it. You have been saying, if I pause, I am irresponsible. But I say to you, you can pause and still be faithful. You have been saying, if I rest, I am falling behind. But I say to you, rest is not falling behind when I am the one leading you. You have been saying, if I need help, I am weak. But I say to you, receiving help is humility, and humility is where grace flows. You have been saying, if I stop managing, everything will unravel. But I say to you, you are not the one keeping everything from unraveling. You are the one unraveling under the weight of trying. Beloved, surrender is not a breakdown. Surrender is a handoff. It is the moment you take what has been strapped to your nervous system, what has been living in your jaw, your shoulders, your stomach, your breath, and you move it from your body to my hands. This is why I have been calling you into release, because you were not created to store this in your flesh. You were created to abide. You were created to breathe. You were created to walk with me, not ahead of me, not apart from me, not under a load that makes your soul limp. And I want to give you a picture you can hold on to when fear rises again. Imagine you have been gripping a heavy rope for so long that your hands have gone numb, your fingers have cramped, and still you keep pulling because you think the whole structure depends on your grip. Now imagine my hands closing over yours, steady, warm, strong, not yanking, not shaming, not forcing, but covering. And I whisper, let me take it. When you loosen your fingers, you are not letting the rope go into open air. You are letting it settle into my grasp. You are not losing control to chaos. You are yielding control to me. And I do not drop what I take. I do not mishandle what you entrust. I do not forget what you place in my care. So I am inviting you into a new confession, one that will retrain your heart and calm your body. Say it with me, even if your voice trembles. I can rest and still be faithful. Say it again, because your mind needs new language. I can pause and still be responsible. Say it until the old vow starts to loosen. I am not the only one holding everything up, because that is the truth that will stabilize you. Not that everything will suddenly be easy. Not that you will never have responsibilities. Not that life will never ask something of you. But that you will no longer carry life as if you are alone in it. And when the fear returns, when you feel that familiar spike in your chest that says, "Get back on duty, pick it up, manage it, fix it, hurry," I want you to practice surrender without drama, surrender without punishment, surrender without the terror of falling apart. Place one hand on your chest if you can, and let it be a signal to your body. We are safe. Then whisper, "Jesus, I give you this." Name it simply. Jesus, I give you the outcome. Jesus, I give you their reaction. Jesus, I give you the timeline. Jesus, I give you the pressure. Jesus, I give you the fear. And then, my child, breathe as if I mean what I say, because I do. You are not releasing into nothing. You are releasing into me. Because surrender doesn't mean you fall apart. It means you stop being the only one holding everything up. It means you stop acting like the pillar and start living like the child. It means you stop bracing for collapse and start leaning into the everlasting arms. And I am here, steady and near, to prove to you what your fear has never been able to imagine. When you finally let me carry what you were never meant to carry, you do not crumble, you are held. You do not disappear, you are gathered. You do not lose yourself, you come home to peace. Now, my beloved child, while your breathing is slowing and your grip is loosening, I need to touch the ache you have carried underneath all this effort, the ache you did not always name, the ache you tried to outwork, the ache you tried to pray away quickly so you could keep functioning. Because there have been seasons where you looked at the calendar, you looked at the door that still did not open, you looked at the prayer that seemed to hang in the air, and you whispered in places no one could hear, "Maybe I was forgotten. Maybe I am not chosen. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I am being punished. Maybe I am disqualified." And you kept smiling in public while that question grew heavy in private. I know how you interpreted the silence. I know what you told yourself when the answer did not come when you expected. You called it abandonment. You called it rejection. You called it God turning his face away. And some of you did not say it out loud because you did not want to sound unfaithful, but you felt it in your body, that sinking feeling when you try again and nothing moves. The tightness when you watch others receive what you have been asking for. The quiet grief when another day ends and you are still waiting. My child, I saw every moment you tried to be brave with a breaking heart. I saw the nights you fell asleep with a prayer still open in your mind. I saw the mornings you woke up and checked your life for evidence that anything had changed. And I am speaking to you now because I will not let you carry a false interpretation of my timing any longer. Listen closely to me, because I am about to reframe what has been tormenting you. The delay was not neglect. The delay was not forgetfulness. The delay was not me losing interest in you. The delay was not me testing you to see how long you could suffer. The delay was not a slammed door with your name on it. The delay was shelter. The delay was protection. The delay was preparation. The delay was timing, holy timing, because I can see what you cannot see, and I can hold what you cannot hold, and I can keep you from what you would have walked into too early and called it a blessing. There are things I withheld because you asked for bread and the enemy had prepared a stone. There are places you begged to enter that were not ready to hold you, and if I had opened that door when you were desperate, you would have been bruised by what you were not meant to carry. There are connections you wanted so badly that would have cost you peace. There are assignments you were reaching for that would have demanded a version of you that never rested, never trusted, never received. So I delayed not to wound you, but to cover you, not to embarrass you, but to protect what I put inside you, not to deny you, but to align you with what fits your life and your soul. And I know, my child, that while you were waiting, you kept carrying. You kept carrying because you didn't know if help was coming. You kept carrying because you thought, if I don't do it, no one will. You kept carrying because you assumed my silence meant you were on your own. And that is why the burden grew heavier than it needed to be, because uncertainty makes the load feel endless. When you do not know if relief is on the way, you brace harder. When you do not know if anyone will catch you, you tighten your grip. When you do not know if the door will ever open, you exhaust yourself trying to build your own doorway. But hear me now, and let this truth land like warm oil on a strained heart. Help has been moving, even when you could not see it. I have been arranging what you could not arrange. I have been shifting what you could not shift. I have been speaking in places you were not in the room for. I have been protecting you in ways you will only understand later. My beloved, I did not leave you in the hallway to teach you a lesson. I kept you in the hallway because there were hazards behind the door you kept knocking on. I kept you in the hallway because I was preparing the room, and I was preparing you. I was healing the parts of you that would have turned a blessing into bondage. I was loosening the vows you made in pain, those vows that said, I must do everything myself, I must never need, I must stay in control, I must not rest. Because if I had brought you into the next season while those vows were still governing you, you would have brought the old weight into the new place, and you would have called it purpose while it crushed you. So do not call it rejection, do not call it abandonment, do not call it delay as if it is a prison sentence. I tell you the truth, the delay was never a sentence, it was a shelter. It was the covering of my hand while I prepared what you couldn't see and protected you from what you didn't know to fear. And I am not saying this to create hype in you, because I will not manipulate your heart with empty excitement. I am saying this to restore your trust. I am saying this to heal the story you have been telling yourself in the dark. And hear me carefully, because this is where many of my children miss the gentleness of my ways. The shift I am bringing first is internal. Peace returns before circumstances fully change. Rest enters your bones before the calendar rearranges itself. Confidence rises in your spirit before the phone rings, before the email comes, before the door swings open, before the relationship shifts, before the provision appears in your hands. Because I am not only interested in changing what is around you, I am changing what is within you. I am teaching you to live carried, not crushed. I am teaching you to wait without panic, to move without striving, to obey without obsession. So if you look around today and you still see some things unfinished, do not conclude that nothing is happening. If you still feel the ache of not yet, do not decide you are outside of my care. My child, I am working in layers. I am untangling. I am aligning. I am removing what would have harmed you. I am strengthening what will sustain you. And I am giving you something that no circumstance can counterfeit. The quiet assurance that you are held, the steady knowing that you are not overlooked, the settled breath that says, even here, God is with me. Let this become your new interpretation when the old thoughts try to return. When your mind says, this is taking too long, you will answer, my Father is protecting me. When your heart says, maybe it will never happen, you will answer, my God is preparing what I cannot see. When fear says, I am alone in this, you will answer, help has been moving, even in silence. And when the enemy tries to use the waiting to shame you, I want you to stand in holy clarity and say, waiting was not rejection. Delay was not a slammed door. It was shelter. It was love. It was God holding me back from what would have broken me and holding me close while He prepared the way. And now, beloved, as you sit on this boundary line, I ask you to receive this without striving. You do not have to carry the uncertainty anymore. You do not have to grip tomorrow like a threat. You do not have to interpret my timing through your trauma. Let my character interpret my timing. I am good. I am present. I am careful with you. And what I have for you will not require you to bleed to obtain it. It will not require you to panic to keep it. It will not require you to be the only one holding everything up. So rest your thoughts in me. Let your shoulders stay lowered. Let your jaw unclench again. And let this truth settle like a seal over your heart. The delay did not mean I said no. The delay meant I said, not yet. Because I love you too much to rush you into something that doesn't fit. And I love you too much to let you believe. My silence is absence. I am here. I have been here. And even now, while you are learning to surrender, I am turning the waiting place into a shelter, and the shelter into a doorway, and the doorway into peace. And because you are beginning to believe me, because you are letting that false story loosen, because you are daring to consider that, my silence was never absence. I need you to hear this next part with your whole heart. Heaven has been moving quietly around you. Not theatrically, not loudly, not in a way that would satisfy the part of you that demands constant proof, but faithfully, carefully, precisely. While you were counting days, I was counting details. While you were bracing for what might happen, I was already positioned in what did happen. While you were asking, "Where is the help?" I was already assigning it. My child, there have been hands you did not see holding the edges of your life. There have been restraints you could not explain. Moments where you tried to force a door and it would not budge, and you called it delay, you called it bad timing, you called it frustration, but I call it mercy. I call it rescue. I call it my protection, standing in front of what would have broken you. You thought you were being denied, but you were being defended. You thought you were being overlooked, but you were being covered. I have rerouted you when your emotions wanted to rush. I have slowed you down when your fear wanted to sprint. I have blocked what looked like an opportunity because it carried a hidden cost to your peace. I have withheld what you begged for because you were asking with a wounded mind, and I was answering with a father's wisdom. And I want you to remember the near misses, the ones you brushed off because you had to keep going, the accident that almost happened but didn't, the conversation that almost went a certain way but something interrupted it, the decision you almost made, the message you almost sent, the relationship you almost entered, the job you almost took, the place you almost moved to, the agreement you almost signed, the night you almost gave up, the moment you almost surrendered to despair, and then, somehow, you were restrained. Somehow, you paused. Somehow, you couldn't do it. Somehow, something felt off. My child, that was not luck. That was not coincidence. That was not your own strength saving you. That was my hand, steady over your life, keeping you from what your tears would have had to pay for later. There were doors that did not open, not because I enjoy watching you wait, not because I am withholding goodness from you, but because I saw what was on the other side. I saw the manipulation you couldn't detect. I saw the exhaustion you would have called success. I saw the spiritual drain you would have labeled purpose. I saw the attachment that would have tightened around your throat, and I loved you too much to let you walk into a room that would have demanded you shrink, perform, or bleed to belong. So I shut it. I stalled it. I redirected it. I let it fall apart on purpose. And I know you grieved it. I know you questioned yourself. I know you wondered if you were being punished. But hear me now. The closed door was not rejection. It was intervention. It was me pulling you back by the collar of my love, saying, not that, not like that, not at that cost. And do not think, beloved, that you have been watching the storm alone. You have not been standing on the deck of your life with the wind in your face and the waves in your chest, trying to pretend you are fine while everything inside you trembles, all by yourself. I have been with you. I have been nearer than your next breath. I have been in the night hours when your mind ran in circles and your body could not rest. I have been in the car rides where you stared forward and whispered prayers you didn't even have the energy to finish. I have been in the bathroom moments where you locked the door and tried to breathe quietly so no one would hear you breaking. And I have not only been present in comfort, I have been active in care. I have been arranging timing. I have been shifting schedules. I have been moving people out of your path and moving the right people toward you. I have been protecting you from what you called normal, because it was not normal. It was a slow leak of peace, a slow drain of hope, a slow erosion of joy. I have been holding back attacks you never knew were aimed at you. I have been covering you when you walked into rooms unaware of the atmosphere you were stepping into. I have been giving you discernment that felt like discomfort, and you thought something was wrong with you, but it was my spirit saying, this is not safe for your soul. I have been teaching you to trust that holy restraint, because restraint is not limitation when it comes from me. Restraint is protection with a pulse. And I need you to let this settle deep, because it will change the way you interpret your life from this day forward. You are not an orphan trying to survive. You are not a lone soldier trying to fight until you collapse. You are not a stray wandering through hardship hoping someone notices. You belong to me. You are part of my household. You have access to my care. You have access to my wisdom. You have access to my provision. You have access to my comfort. And when you belong to me, help is not a rare event. It is a covenant reality. I do not abandon my children to prove a point. I do not leave you to carry what I never assigned. I do not watch you drown while I teach you a lesson. I am a father, and a father moves toward his child. So I am telling you, with tenderness and with authority, help has been assigned, not someday. Not only when you have it all together, not only when you finally become strong enough to deserve support, help has been assigned in the unseen, and you are going to begin to notice it in the seen. You are going to recognize the quiet provisions, the timely phone call, the unexpected favor, the person who shows up with the right words, the way a burden shifts without you forcing it, the way a solution appears without you panicking it into existence. And even more than that, you are going to feel my companionship as a steadying presence inside you, a calm that does not match the circumstances, a rest that does not come from everything being solved, but from you finally knowing you are not solving it alone. My child, I have been moving quietly, but I have not been standing still. I have been guarding what you couldn't guard. I have been rerouting what you couldn't foresee. I have been holding back what would have shattered you in a season when you were already fragile. And now, as you step over this boundary line, I am inviting you to stop interpreting your life as a solitary struggle and start living like what you truly are, covered, carried, and connected to a household that does not run out of help. You have not been alone. You have never been alone. And the help you couldn't see was never absent. It was assigned. It was active. And it is with you even now. Now, my child, because I have told you that help has been assigned, I am not going to leave you with a beautiful idea and no doorway to walk through. I am not only giving you comfort, I am giving you a practice. I am giving you an exchange. Because peace is not something you chase until you are exhausted. Peace is something you receive when you stop carrying what belongs to me. And today, at this boundary line, I am teaching you how to live this step by step, moment by moment, breath by breath, so your soul learns a new posture. Listen closely, because this is simple, and it is holy, and it is powerful. The exchange happens in 3 parts. You name it, you hand it to Jesus, and then you take the next obedient step with me. Not the next 50 steps, not the whole plan, not the outcome you cannot control. Just the next step I am asking of you. This is how weary hearts become steady. This is how anxious minds become quiet. This is how you move from striving into childship. First, you name it. Not vaguely, not spiritually polished, not hiding behind "I'm fine." You bring it into the light with honesty, because what you do not name will keep masquerading as your personality. What you do not name will keep pressing on your chest at night. So I want you to say it plainly. Jesus, I am carrying anxiety about money, not just bills fear, fear of not having enough, fear of what will happen if one more thing breaks, if one more expense appears, if one more month feels tight. Or, Jesus, I am carrying fear of the future, not just tomorrow, what ifs that multiply, images that haunt, uncertainty that steals your sleep. Or, Jesus, I am carrying my family's conflict, the tension you keep trying to manage, the words you keep replaying, the responsibility you keep assuming for everyone's emotions. Or, Jesus, I am carrying shame, the silent weight of what you did, what was done to you, what you keep punishing yourself for, what you think disqualifies you. Or, Jesus, I am carrying grief, the loss that people stopped mentioning, the ache you learned to swallow so you could function, the sadness that visits you when the room is quiet. Or, Jesus, I am carrying worry about my health, the symptoms you keep monitoring, the appointments, the tests, the fear that something is wrong, the dread you don't want to speak out loud. Name it, my child, because I already know it, but you need to stop holding it in shadow as if hiding it makes you strong. Second, you hand it over. And I do not mean you think about handing it over while still gripping it. I mean you release it with your words, with your breath, with the trust of a child who finally lets the Father take what is too heavy. Say a short prayer, short enough that you can do it in the car, in the kitchen, in the hallway, in the middle of a meeting, in the night when your mind starts spinning again. Jesus, I give you this fear. Jesus, I place this burden in your hands. Jesus, carry what I cannot carry. You do not have to perform. You do not have to make it poetic. You do not have to earn the right to be helped. You just have to release. And when you do, I want you to remember what my son said, because it was not a suggestion. It was an invitation with your name on it. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Not more pressure, not more proving. Rest. Take my yoke upon you, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. This is the exchange. Your weight for my rest, your strain for my steadiness, your control for my care. Third, after you name it and you hand it to Jesus, you take the next obedient step. This is where many of my children get stuck, because they want peace to come through control, and they want certainty before obedience. But I am training you out of that. The next step may be small. It may be one phone call you have been avoiding. It may be writing down what you actually owe instead of drowning in vague dread. It may be sending one honest message that sets a boundary without anger. It may be drinking water and going to sleep, because you have been treating exhaustion like a virtue. It may be making the appointment you keep postponing because fear says, "Don't find out." It may be opening your Bible to the place I keep drawing you to, even if all you can do is sit and breathe. It may be asking for help from a safe person instead of silently collapsing. The next step is not you fixing everything. The next step is you walking with me instead of running ahead of me. And I need you to hear me, because your mind will try to accuse you. When the burden tries to return, do not panic. When the fear comes back in the afternoon after you surrendered it in the morning, that is not proof that nothing happened. That is not failure. That is training. That is your soul learning a new reflex. You have been carrying for so long that your hands reach for the weight automatically. So when you notice it creeping back, when your shoulders rise, when your jaw tightens, when your stomach knots, when your thoughts start racing, do not shame yourself. Do not say, "I guess I didn't mean it." Do not say, "I'm back at the beginning." You simply practice the exchange again. Name it again. Hand it over again. Take the next step again. Repetition is not regression. Repetition is renewal. It is how a new pathway is formed in you. It is how trust becomes muscle. It is how peace becomes your home instead of your visitor. My child, you are learning childship. You are learning what it means to live as mine, not as a lone worker trying to deserve relief. A child does not carry the whole household on their back to prove they belong. A child belongs first, and from belonging they obey. From belonging they rest. From belonging they receive. And this is what I am restoring in you. The right to come to me quickly. The courage to release without drama, the humility to take the next step without needing the whole map. So do it with me now, quietly in your heart if you must. Name what is heaviest today, hand it to Jesus with a simple sentence, and ask me for the next step, the one that is yours and not mine. And as you walk it out, I will meet you there, not with a whip, not with disappointment, not with demands you cannot bear, but with rest that fits your soul. This is the boundary line. You will no longer carry your burdens alone. You will exchange them. You will practice it. You will be trained into peace. And you will discover, day by day, that true strength was never you holding everything together. True strength is surrendering the weight to Jesus and receiving his rest. And now, my beloved child, because you have stepped into this exchange with me, because you have felt your hands open even a little, I need you to see what happens next, because the enemy has lied to you about what healing looks like. You thought healing meant you would wake up one day with no responsibilities, no pressure, no demands, no hard decisions, no weight anywhere near you. But I am telling you the truth. The after version of you is not a person with an empty calendar. The healed you is a person with a steady spirit. The healed you is calm in the middle of responsibility, not because the responsibility disappeared, but because you are no longer bracing as if you are alone. The healed you is guided instead of driven. The healed you is present instead of preparing for impact. The healed you can breathe while you work. The healed you can make a decision without spiraling. The healed you can hear one difficult sentence and not collapse into 1,000 fearful conclusions. The healed you can face tomorrow without trying to control it like a threat. Hear me, my child, because this is where your identity shifts, and I do not want you to miss it. After today, you do not have to keep proving you deserve peace. You have been performing for peace. You have been trying to earn rest with excellence. You have been trying to purchase calm with productivity. You have been trying to negotiate safety by staying in control, staying necessary, staying available, staying strong, staying ahead, staying impressive, staying useful. And you have called that maturity. But I call it bondage. I call it a weary kind of striving that looks noble on the outside and feels like suffocation on the inside. And I am drawing a boundary line in you. You will no longer chase peace through performance. You will live from peace through trust. So let me remove the false labels you have worn like a second skin. You are not too much. You are not behind. You are not weak. You are not a burden. You are not the one who always has to hold it together. You are not the responsible one in a way that makes you forget you are mine first. You are not a machine. You are not a savior. You are not the answer to everyone's chaos. My child, you are beloved. You are held. You are guided. You are strengthened. And the strength I am giving you is not the strength of clenched teeth and sleepless nights. It is the strength of a heart that trusts me enough to release again and again without shame. Because true strength is trust. True strength is not you carrying more. True strength is you yielding sooner. True strength is you saying, Jesus, I cannot be God for my life, so I will stop trying. True strength is you letting me lead when your pride wants to prove. True maturity is not independence from me. True maturity is dependence without panic. It is childlike faith with grown-up obedience. It is you taking the next step with me, not dragging your whole future on your back to feel safe. And I am going to make this practical, because I am not only healing what you feel, I am healing how you live. After today, the healed you begins to build new habits, small ones, holy ones, consistent ones that keep your soul in my rest. The healed you asks for help without apologizing for having needs. The healed you stops treating support like a humiliation and starts treating it like wisdom. The healed you reaches out to the safe person I have placed in your life and says, can you pray with me? Can you talk with me? Can you help me? And you will not wait until you are drowning to admit you are tired. You will not wait until your body breaks to honor the limits I designed for you. The healed you sets boundaries without bitterness. Not walls built out of fear, but boundaries built out of stewardship. You will learn to say, I cannot do that, without explaining your whole life story. You will learn to say, not today, without feeling guilty. You will learn to say, this is what I can offer, and this is what I cannot, and you will stop calling that selfish, because I never asked you to be endlessly available. I asked you to be obedient. And obedience sometimes looks like rest. Obedience sometimes looks like no. Obedience sometimes looks like leaving the phone unanswered so you can breathe, pray, eat, sleep, and return as a whole person. The healed you praise honestly, not polished, not performed, not pretending. You will stop coming to me only when you can sound strong, and you will come to me when you are trembling, when you are angry, when you are confused, when you are weary, when you are disappointed, when you do not know what to do next. You will bring me the real sentence, the real fear, the real grief, the real pressure, because intimacy with me is not built on impressive words, it is built on honest surrender. And when you pray like that, you will feel what you have been starving for, not a formula, but my presence. And yes, my child, the healed you rests without guilt. You will stop treating exhaustion like a badge. You will stop calling burnout dedication. You will stop punishing yourself for being human. You will sleep when you need to sleep. You will eat without rushing. You will take a walk and let your mind quiet. You will sit in silence and let your shoulders drop, and you will not call it laziness. You will call it obedience. Because I did not create you to run until you collapse. I created you to walk with me. And when you rest, you are not falling behind. You are aligning. You are letting me restore what striving keeps draining. So when the old voice tries to return the voice that says, if you slow down, everything will fall apart. The voice that says, if you don't carry it, no one will. The voice that says, you have to be stronger than this. I want you to answer it with the truth of who you are now. Say, I am not alone. Say, I am not driven. I am led. Say, I do not have to perform for peace. Say, Jesus is carrying what I cannot carry. Say, I can take the next step, and that is enough. And as you speak that, you are not pretending, you are practicing your new identity. My beloved, after today, you will still have moments that require courage, conversations that require wisdom, responsibilities that require diligence. But you will meet them differently. You will meet them from rest, not for rest. You will meet them from peace, not chasing peace. You will meet them with me beside you, not with your nervous system braced as if you are about to be abandoned. And this is how you will know you are healing, not because life becomes silent, but because your soul becomes steady, not because you never feel pressure, but because you no longer let pressure become your master, not because you do everything perfectly, but because you return quickly, again and again to the one who carries you. So receive this identity, my child. Let it settle in your bones like a new name. You are mine. You are held. You are guided. You are strengthened. And the healed you, the real you, the restored you does not chase peace through performance. You live from peace through trust, and that trust will make you gentle without being fragile, responsible without being enslaved, diligent without being driven, compassionate without being depleted, and steady without having to control everything. This is who you become after today. This is the life on the other side of the boundary line. Now, my beloved child, I do not want you to rush past this like it is just another sentence you agree with in your mind while your body still holds the weight. Slow down with me. Just for a moment. Let your breathing come back to you. Let your shoulders drop, even if only a little, because I am not speaking to your public image, and I am not speaking to the version of you that knows how to smile and keep functioning. I am speaking to the specific weight you carry when no one is watching, because I want to carry you personally. So, right now, if you can, place a hand on your chest, not as a performance, not to prove anything, but as a sign to your own soul that you are here, that you are present, that you are receiving. And if you are in a place where you cannot do that, then simply open your palms in your spirit, open hands, open heart, because closed fists cannot receive. And I am not asking you to fight right now. I am asking you to receive. Listen closely, my child. I am near. I am not far from you. I am not watching you from a distance with crossed arms, waiting for you to become impressive enough to deserve comfort. I am the God who draws close. I am near to the brokenhearted, and I do not despise your weakness. I do not demand your perfection. I offer my presence. I do not ask you to clean yourself up before you come into my arms. I tell you to come as you are, weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. And because I am speaking to what is specific, I am going to touch the places you have tried to keep unnamed. Some of you have been carrying the burden of providing. You have been doing the math in your head 100 times a day. You have been trying to stretch what feels like it cannot stretch. You have been waking up with pressure already on your chest, already hearing the voice that says, "What if it's not enough?" And you do not just fear the bill, you fear the feeling of failing. You fear being responsible and still coming up short. My child, I see you. I see the way you have tried to be faithful and practical at the same time, the way you have tried to trust me while your mind races through worst-case scenarios. I am telling you, you are not alone in that place. I am not ashamed of you in that place, and I am not asking you to carry tomorrow's provision on today's shoulders. Some of you have been parenting with a loneliness no one understands. You have been making decisions by yourself, holding boundaries by yourself, wiping tears by yourself, staying awake for fevers, doing schedules, doing meals, doing discipline, doing comfort, doing all of it, while also trying to keep your own heart from collapsing. And people may clap for you and call you strong, but they do not see the moments you sit in silence and whisper, "I can't do this like this, my child." I heard that whisper. I have been in the hallway with you. I have been in the car with you. I have been in the kitchen with you. And I am telling you, you are not failing because you are tired. You are tired because you have been carrying what I intend to help you carry. Some of you have been caregiving, and you have been doing it with love, but also with a grief that comes in waves. You have watched someone you love change. You have watched needs increase. You have watched your own freedom shrink. And you have felt guilty for being exhausted because you tell yourself you should only be grateful you still have them. You should only be honored you can serve. But, my child, I am not offended by your humanity. I am not asking you to pretend you do not hurt. Bring me the sadness you have been swallowing. Bring me the resentment you have been ashamed to admit. Bring me the fatigue you have been normalizing. I am gentle with you. I am patient with you. And I will meet you in the long middle, not only at the breakthrough. Some of you are leading in your home, leading at work, leading in ministry, leading in rooms where everyone looks to you for answers, and you have been doing it with a brave face while inside you feel empty. Leadership fatigue has been sitting on you like a heavy garment. You have been pouring out and pouring out and pouring out, and you cannot remember the last time you felt poured into. And you have told yourself, "This is what I asked for. This is what I'm called to." But you have confused calling with carrying everything alone. My child, I did not anoint you to be crushed. I did not appoint you to be drained into bitterness. I am restoring your inner life. I am teaching you to lead from rest, not from depletion. and I am giving you permission to come to me first, not last. Some of you are carrying unseen grief, not the kind people bring meals for anymore, not the kind that has a ceremony attached to it, but the quiet losses, the relationship that changed, the dream that died slowly, the version of life you thought you would have by now, the goodbye you never got to say properly, the betrayal you never fully processed. You have been functional, yes, but you have been heavy, and you have wondered if you are overreacting, if you should be over it by now. My child, grief is not a weakness. Grief is love with nowhere to go, and I am not intimidated by it. Let me sit with you in it. Let me hold you in it. Let me heal what you have learned to carry silently. And some of you, my precious one, have been living with a secret anxiety, smiling in public, steady in conversation, responsible on the outside, while your mind runs at night, while your heart races for no reason you can explain, while your body stays braced as if something bad is about to happen. You have been hypervigilant. You have been scanning for danger. You have been trying to control outcomes because somewhere deep inside you made a vow, if I can just stay ahead, I won't get hurt again. My child, I see the origin of that fear, and I do not condemn you for what you built to survive. But I am inviting you to let me replace survival with safety. I am inviting you to let my peace become your environment, not your occasional visitor. So stay with me. Do not rush. Keep your hand on your chest, or keep your palms open, and let this be a holy pause. Let this be the moment you stop translating your life through everyone else's expectations, and you let me speak to what is true. You do not have to be impressive in this moment. You do not have to be articulate. You only have to be willing. Because I am speaking to your specific weight, not your public image. And I am doing it because I am not offering you a distant solution. I am offering you my closeness. I am offering you the companionship of Jesus in the exact place you have felt most alone. I am offering you rest that fits the shape of your life, not a generic peace that disappears when the day gets loud. And now, my child, feel the expectancy rising, not hype, not noise, but quiet faith. The kind that says, maybe I can actually let this go. The kind that says, maybe I don't have to hold it all together. The kind that says, maybe Jesus really will carry me. So now, let us place it in my hands together. Do not edit it. Do not minimize it. Do not wait until it becomes small enough to be acceptable. Bring the real burden. Bring the real weight. Bring the real fear. And in the next breath, we will release it together into the hands that were pierced to prove to you that I will not let you carry alone. Now, my child, do not rush past this next breath. This is not a motivational moment. This is not you trying harder. This is the transfer point. This is the place where the weight leaves your shoulders and enters my care. And I want you to pray with me slowly, honestly, without performing, without fixing your tone, because I am not measuring your eloquence. I am receiving your surrender. So right now, wherever you are, whisper it if you can, and if you cannot whisper, let it move through your heart like a yes. Say, Jesus, I am tired. Not the casual tired you laugh about, the deep tired. The tired that comes from carrying what was never meant to be carried alone. Jesus, I am tired of being strong in silence. I am tired of holding it together when I feel like I'm coming apart. I am tired of bracing for the next problem. I am tired of waking up already behind. I am tired of trying to control what I cannot control. My child, let that be true. Let it be real. Let your honesty be the first gift you place in my hands. And now say, Lord, I confess that I have been trying to do this alone. Not because you are evil, not because you do not love me, but because you learned to survive. Because you were disappointed. Because you were let down. Because you had to grow up too fast. Because you felt safer relying on yourself than risking another heartbreak. Say it. I have been trying to be my own provider. I have been trying to be my own protector. I have been trying to be my own savior. And my child, I am not saying this to shame you. I am saying this to free you. Because what you confess, I can heal. What you bring into my light, I can lift. Now, renounce the vow you made in pain. Speak it plainly, because that vow has been sitting in the center of your chest like a hidden contract. Say, in the name of Jesus, I renounce the vow that says, I have to carry everything alone. I renounce the vow that says, if I don't control it, it will fall apart. I renounce the vow that says, If I need help, I am weak. I renounce the vow that says, I am only safe if I stay ahead. My child, that vow was made by a wounded version of you trying to stay alive, but it will not lead you into rest. So release it, break agreement with it, let it go. And now, I want you to place specific weights into the hands of Jesus. Do not hand me a general sentence and keep the real thing tucked behind your back. Bring the real burden forward, one category at a time, and as you hear it named, attach your story to it and let it go. Say, Jesus, I give you my fear, the fear that keeps you scanning, the fear that keeps you imagining the worst, the fear that sits on your chest when everything is quiet. Jesus, I give you my fear of the future. I give you my fear of not being enough. I give you my fear of losing what I love. I give you my fear of what people will think. I give you my fear of bad news. Hand it to him, my child, and do not take it back in the next sentence. Say, Jesus, I give you my need for control. The control that looks like planning and fixing and managing and overthinking and rehearsing conversations and trying to read everyone's moods so you can stay safe. Jesus, I release control. I release the pressure of outcomes. I release the illusion that I can hold the whole world together. My child, control has been your armor, but it has also been your exhaustion. Let me be your covering. Say, Jesus, I give you my shame. The shame you carry about what you did, what you didn't do, what you wish you had done differently, what you keep replaying at night. Jesus, I release shame from my body. I release shame from my mind. I release shame from my identity. My child, shame is not humility. Shame is a chain, and I did not design you to live chained to yesterday. Say, Jesus, I give you my grief, the grief you swallowed because you had to keep functioning, the loss no one mentions anymore, the ache that visits you when the room is quiet. Jesus, hold what I cannot hold, comfort what I cannot fix, heal what time alone has not healed. My child, I collect your tears. I do not rush your mourning. I meet you there. Say, Jesus, I give you my financial stress, the pressure of providing, the bills, the uncertainty, the quiet panic. Jesus, I place my needs in your hands. I release the torment of what if. I release the fear of running out. I release the dread of one more expense. My child, do not carry tomorrow's provision on today's shoulders. Let me father you here. Say, Jesus, I give you relational strain, the conflict, the misunderstandings, the distance, the constant emotional labor. Jesus, I release what I cannot make right by force. I release the burden of managing everyone's feelings. I release the responsibility of being the peacekeeper at the cost of my own peace. My child, I will give you wisdom and boundaries, but you are not the savior of every relationship. I am. Say, Jesus, I give you my health anxiety, the symptoms, the spirals, the dread, the fear of what could be wrong. Jesus, I release the panic in my body. I release the terrifying thoughts. I release the constant checking. I place my body under your care. My child, I am not only the God of your spirit, I am the God who holds you holy. And now, beloved, after you have handed it over, receive what Jesus promised you. Do not move past receiving as if surrender is the finish line. Surrender is the doorway. Now step into what is offered. Pray this. Jesus, you said, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. So I am coming. I am here. I am not running. I am not proving. I am coming. Say, fit me with your yoke. Teach my soul your gentleness. Teach me your humility. Teach me how to live, carried, not crushed. My child, ask him for the kind of rest that reaches your nervous system, the kind of rest that quiets your mind, the kind of rest that softens your jaw, the kind of rest that releases your shoulders. Say, let your rest settle into my body. Let your peace guard my heart. Let your presence become my environment. And now close it with trust, because trust is how you seal the exchange. Say, Jesus, thank you for receiving what I cannot hold anymore. Thank you that I am not alone. Thank you that you do not despise my weakness. Thank you that you are gentle with me. Thank you that you carry me. And now declare this, quietly but firmly. I receive your peace as my portion today. I receive your rest as my portion today. I receive your guidance for the next step. I receive your care over what I release. My child, let gratitude rise. not because everything is solved in one instant, but because the weight is no longer only on you. And in this moment, I want you to breathe as one who is held. Breathe as one who is not abandoned. Breathe as one who has made an exchange in heaven, even if your feelings are still catching up. The transfer has begun, the burden has moved, and I, the Lord your God, will not let you return to the old way of carrying. Now, my beloved child, because you have released it, because you have opened your hands, because you have made the exchange and you have breathed as one who is held, I want you to seal this moment with your words. Do not underestimate what happens when you agree with my truth out loud. Do not treat this like a passing feeling that will fade when the day gets loud again. This is a boundary line. This is a holy marker. This is the end of an old way of carrying and the beginning of a new way of living. So listen closely and repeat after me quietly if you must, but firmly, because you are not begging today, you are agreeing. Say, I am not alone. Say it again, I am not alone. Say, I am not forgotten. Say, I am seen by God. Say, I am carried by Jesus. Say, I do not have to hold everything together. Say, God is with me and God is for me. My child, let those words land deeper than your emotions. Let them go past your thoughts and settle into your bones, because I am rebuilding your inner world with truth. Now break agreement with the old patterns that have worn you down. You are not condemned for them, but you are not keeping them. They helped you survive, but they will not lead you into rest. So say, in the name of Jesus, I release hypervigilance. Release the constant scanning. Release the bracing. Release the need to anticipate every threat. Say, I release people-pleasing. Release the pressure to stay liked. Release the fear of disappointing. Release the compulsion to over-explain, to over-apologize, to over-give until you are empty. Say, I release fear-driven control. Release the rehearsing. Release the mental loops. Release the belief that if you do not grip it tightly, everything will collapse. My child, that is not wisdom, that is torment. And I am cutting the cord of torment today. Say, I release the silent vow that says I must carry alone. Say, I release the identity of being the one who always has to be strong. Say, I release the shame of needing help. Say, I release the heaviness I have normalized. And now say, I receive the yoke of Jesus. Say, I receive rest for my soul. Say, I receive grace for today, not grace for 10 years from now, not strength for a future. You have not reached grace for today, bread for today, light for the next step. And now, my child, I am speaking calm over your nervous system. I am not only addressing your spirit, I am touching the place in you that has been on high alert. So declare it with me. My body is safe in God. Say, my breathing is steady. Say, my shoulders can drop. Say, my jaw can unclench. Say, my heart does not have to race to be ready. Say, I do not have to live braced. My child, I bless you with peace that moves through your bloodstream, peace that quiets the shaking you have hidden, peace that interrupts the adrenaline you have mistaken for responsibility. I am training your body to recognize my presence as home. Declare, my mind will be clear. Say, confusion is not my portion. Say, the fog is lifting. Say, I will have discernment. Say, I will know what is mine to carry and what is not. My child, I am giving you wisdom that does not come with panic. I am giving you guidance that does not come with striving. I am giving you the ability to hear me without having to be loud inside. And I bless your thoughts with order. I bless your inner world with quiet. I bless your attention with steadiness. I bless your decisions with peace. And now declare this over your night, because some of you have been afraid of bedtime not because you hate rest, but because silence has been the place where the worries get loud. So say, sleep is a gift God gives me. Say, I will lie down and my mind will not torment me. Say, I will rest without guilt. Say, I release the need to solve everything tonight. Say, I will not carry tomorrow in my body. My child, I am blessing your sleep. I am blessing your dreams. I am blessing the hours you thought you had to spend anxious and alert. I am teaching you how to close your eyes and still trust me. I will watch over what you cannot watch over. I will work where you cannot work. I will cover what you cannot control. Now seal this day with a line in the sand. Speak it plainly, because heaven responds to agreement. Say, Today is my boundary line. Say, what I carried alone, I carry alone no more. Say, I will not return to the old way of carrying. Say, if the burden tries to come back, I will release it again. Say, I am not going back to clenched fists. Say, I am not going back to silent suffering. Say, I am not going back to proving. My child, you are not losing your strength. You are being given a better one. The strength of surrender, the strength of trust, the strength of a life that is yoked to Jesus. And now, as you step back into your day, I want you to walk like someone who has been helped. Walk like someone who is not abandoned. Walk like someone whose Father has spoken. Not because every circumstance changed in one instant, but because the ownership of the weight has changed. The burden has moved hands. The pressure has shifted shoulders. The old pattern has been confronted and broken. And I, the Lord your God, am declaring over you, you will not return to the old way of carrying, because I am teaching you, moment by moment, how to live, carried, not crushed. Today is the boundary line, and it will hold. Now, my child, listen to me with tenderness and truth, because I do not want you surprised by what happens next. There will be moments tonight, and there will be moments tomorrow, when the burden tries to knock again. The same thoughts may circle back. The same tightness may try to settle into your chest. The old reflex may reach for control as if it is the only way you can feel safe. And I need you to understand this clearly. When that happens, it is not proof that this prayer failed. It is not proof that you did it wrong. It is not proof that you are back at the beginning. It is proof that you are learning a new reflex. It is proof that your soul is being trained to return to me instead of returning to panic. You have lived a long time braced, my beloved. You have lived a long time carrying, calculating, scanning, preparing for impact. So when peace comes, your nervous system may not recognize it as familiar at first. When rest comes, part of you may try to reach for the weight again, not because you want torment, but because heaviness has been your normal. Do not shame yourself for that. Do not talk to yourself like an enemy. Do not say, see, nothing changed. No, my child, something changed. The ownership changed. And now you will practice living from what changed. So I am giving you something simple, something you can do in the kitchen, in the car, in your bed when the room gets quiet, in the middle of a meeting when your heart starts racing. I call it 3 breaths, and it is not a trick, it is a return. It is you coming back under the yoke of Jesus on purpose. First, breathe. Not one rushed breath, not the shallow breath of fear. 3 slow breaths, as if you are breathing in my presence and exhaling the lie that you are alone. In through your nose if you can, out through your mouth if you can. Let your shoulders remember what you declared. Let your jaw loosen. Let your body hear you say, without words, I am safe with God. My child, you are not trying to force peace. You are allowing peace. You are making room. Second, whisper 1 sentence of surrender. Keep it short, because in the moment of pressure you do not need a speech. You need an exchange. Say, Jesus, I give this back to you. Say, Lord, carry what I cannot carry. Say, I release control and I receive your rest. Say, this belongs to you, not to me. 1 sentence, simple, clean, honest. And when you whisper it, do not whisper it like a wish. Whisper it like agreement. Because heaven recognizes surrender, and hell recognizes authority, and your own soul recognizes a new leader. Third, take 1 small obedient action, not 10 steps, not a whole life plan, 1 small step that matches trust. If the burden is tomorrow, your obedient action might be to stop rehearsing and write down the 1 thing you are actually assigned to do next. If the burden is fear, your obedient action might be to turn off the doom scrolling and open my word, even for 5 minutes, even for 1 verse, and let truth steady you. If the burden is loneliness, your obedient action might be to send a message to someone safe and say, can you pray for me? If the burden is exhaustion, your obedient action might be to drink water, to eat something nourishing, to lay down, to go to sleep without guilt. My child, obedience is not pressure, it is alignment. It is you stepping back into the lane where grace meets you. And I want you to hear me. When the burden returns, you do not panic. You practice the exchange again. Do not make the returning thought bigger than my faithfulness. Do not treat a wave like a verdict. A wave is not a drowning. A moment is not a lifetime. The enemy will try to whisper, "See, you're back." But I tell you, you are not back. You are learning. You are being renewed. You are building a new pathway in your mind, a new habit in your spirit. Instead of gripping, you release. Instead of spiraling, you come. Instead of isolating, you reach. And, my precious one, do not do this part alone. I did not design you to heal in isolation, and I did not design you to carry community-sized burdens with a single pair of shoulders. There are people I have placed in your life, and there are people I will place who are part of my care for you. Wise support is not a lack of faith. It is often the way I deliver my faithfulness. If you need to talk to a trusted believer, do it. If you need pastoral care, seek it. If you need a counselor who is steady and wise, do not be ashamed. You are not too much. You are not weak for needing help. My child, I often carry you through people, through a listening ear, through a safe presence, through someone who can help you name what you have only felt, through someone who can remind you of what I said when your night gets loud. And if you realize you have been silent for too long, if you have been smiling while breaking inside, I am giving you permission to stop performing strength and start receiving care. Send the message. Make the appointment. Join the small group. Answer the call you keep ignoring. Let someone stand with you. Let someone pray with you. Let someone remind you that your boundary line is real, even when your emotions are still learning to live there. And yes, my child, I want you to come back to this word, not because I am dependent on a screen, but because I know how the night can sound. I know how thoughts can get loud when the lights go out. I know how worry tries to preach to you when the house is quiet. So when the burden tries to return, when the old fear tries to climb back onto your shoulders, come back and let this word steady you again. Let it be a place you revisit like a well. Let it be a reminder you return to until your spirit learns, automatically, that the first response is not panic. The first response is Jesus. Do you hear me, my beloved? You are not failing when you have to release it again. You are succeeding. You are practicing. You are living the new way. Each time you notice the weight and you hand it back, you are strengthening the muscle of surrender. Each time you breathe and whisper and obey, you are choosing trust over torment. And I am with you in that practice. I am patient with your process. I do not roll my eyes at your humanity. I do not withdraw because you needed reminding. I am the shepherd who brings you back, again and again, to green places and still waters. So tonight and tomorrow, when the burden tries to return, do not argue with it for hours. Do not let it take your whole body hostage. Do not let it convince you that you must carry it to be responsible. Simply practice the exchange. Breathe. Surrender in one sentence. Take one small obedient step, and then rest. My child, because this is what your boundary line looks like in real life. Not a one-time moment, but a new posture you return to again and again until peace becomes your home. Now, my child, stay with me for just a little longer, because I do not want you to treat this as a private moment that ends when you close your phone and step back into noise. I want you to understand what I am doing right now. I am not only lifting weight from you, I am building a doorway through you. Because when you respond to me in a simple, humble way, you are not performing for people, you are agreeing with heaven. And agreement is not small. Agreement is where atmospheres change. Agreement is where the enemy loses legal ground. Agreement is where peace becomes a boundary line that holds. So I want you to seal this, right here, right now, with a sentence that your own heart can come back to when the night tries to argue. Comment these words. Jesus, I give you the weight. And if you feel led, add one word, just one word for what you are releasing today. Fear, control, anxiety, grief, shame, pressure, loneliness. That one word is not you exposing yourself. It is you naming the burden so you can hand it over. It is you refusing to keep carrying something in the dark with no language and no release. My child, there is power in a simple confession. There is freedom in bringing it into the light. And every time you see your own words again, you will remember, the weight is not yours anymore. And if you have been carrying something alone, if there is a battle you have been fighting quietly, if there is a situation you have been holding together with clenched teeth and a tired smile, leave your prayer request here. Do not overthink it. Do not edit it into something polished. Just place it here like an offering, because this becomes a place of covering and agreement. You are not the only one reading these words. I will gather my people around you, and I will stir compassion, and I will send intercession, and I will remind you through others what I have already spoken to you. You are not alone. Let this be a small altar in the middle of an ordinary day, a place where you stop isolating and you start receiving care. And as you write your request, I want you to do it with this posture, not desperation, but trust, because you are not throwing words into the air. You are placing your need into my hands. And now, my beloved, I am asking you to think of one person, not 10. One, the strong friend who never asks for help, the caregiver who is always holding everyone else up, the exhausted parent who has forgotten what it feels like to breathe without pressure, the one who says, "I'm fine," but their eyes are tired, the one quietly drowning while still showing up for work, still showing up for everybody, still trying to be strong in silence. Send this to them, not with a sermon attached, not with a long explanation. Just send it as a rope, just send it as a kindness, because you do not know what their night sounds like. You do not know what they have been carrying alone. And I, the Lord your God, am able to use one simple share as an answer to a prayer they have not even known how to pray out loud. Do you see it, my child? Your response is not only about engagement, it is about obedience. It is about love. It is about becoming the kind of person who does not keep relief to themselves. The enemy has tried to convince you that you are a burden, so you stay quiet. But I am teaching you a new way. You become a blessing by letting yourself be helped, and then you help others find the same rest. This is how I build family. This is how I build community. This is how I heal what isolation has harmed. And if you know you need this kind of steady word in your life, if you know the nights can get loud, if you know your thoughts can get heavy, if you know you have been searching for strength in the dark, then subscribe, my child. Not because you are chasing content, but because you are choosing covering. You are choosing to let these reminders meet you on time, instead of waiting until you are already spiraling. You are choosing to return to the well before you are dehydrated. You are choosing to let truth find you again and again, until peace becomes familiar, until surrender becomes instinct, until your first response is no longer panic, but Jesus. And I bless you for staying. I bless you for listening. I bless you for choosing release instead of pride, honesty instead of hiding, surrender instead of strain. And I bless the person you are becoming after today, the one who does not confuse clenched fists for strength, the one who does not wear exhaustion like a badge, the one who knows how to come to me quickly, simply, confidently, and let me carry what was never meant to crush you. So comment, my child, Jesus, I give you the weight, and add your one word if you are ready. Leave your prayer request if you need covering. Send this to the one who is tired but still pretending. And stay close, subscribe, so when the burden tries to return, you will not have to wander in the dark looking for relief. You will come back to what I have said. You will come back to the exchange. You will come back to me. And your response, yes, your response, will become a doorway both for your freedom and for another weary soul's relief.